guys, game number 5 in our first semifinal match of our IPL5 Chinese qualifiers. And on the left side of Sanshorn Mists, we have our Blue Zerg player from the team Dream. It is F91, the Brood War legend, the Zergling King of the South, going up against our Red Protoss player from the team TyLoo. Wants to go ahead and get a win, move on to the finals. It is TyLoo.Jim.
That's right. So there we have it. It's our admins for the event. I don't think their logo's anywhere on this map. Been kind of looking around a little bit, but I don't see it. So a little bit disappointed after the precedent of the first couple of matches, especially the one on Ohana with a monstrous logo in the middle.
I can read Korean, but I cannot read Chinese.
Well, I cannot either. So,
although I'd love to be able to someday.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
For sure.
Languages are cool. It's one of my hobbies, actually.
I like languages. Need to get back and keep learning German again. So,
ja.
I've been slacking. Jawohl.
Das ist gut.
Sehr gut.
I don't know a lot of German. I took it for like a year in college.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Nice.
I had a talk with Kaldor about this when I was in Korea. He was like, why don't you Americans speak any other languages? And I'm like, well, not many people know this, but in America, you do usually have to take at least a year or two of a foreign language in high school and then in college, too. So it's not like, you know, Americans don't care. It's just once you take those classes, you just don't use it, you know, so you forget it really quick.
Yeah, well, that's about right. So.
Yeah. It's not that we don't want to. It's just not a lot of Americans really have an opportunity to speak it on a regular basis.
Well, hope to correct that one day, as I'd love to live in Germany. So.
Oh, yeah, me too, man.
That's, well, we'll see.
Other places. Maybe not Germany. Germany would be cool to visit.
Well, somewhere Kaldor's like, eee, he's happy. He's kind of like yesterday, JYP. Eee. Anyway, well, F91.
I have seen Kaldor do that, by the way.
Oh, really?
For the record. Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm okay with that. Well, this is a market difference as Jim decided to delay with his probe for a little while. Oh, my God.
Oh, dun. This is what happens.
This doesn't have a neutral supply depot.
He's like, okay, yep, it is. That Overlord's like, hey.
What?
Hey.
That's no fair.
Wow, is this really happening? Okay, there's a third base going down for F91. So he did get a hatchery down. So, I mean, that will help quite a bit.
That's right. So, and this photon cannon still has quite a while before it's able to come up, and 3 Zerglings can attack this at once. So, it's actually going to take a while before it goes down.
Gateway going down as well. There's a ton being spent on this. I mean, Jim is really taking a risk by doing this too.
I actually think this is a little much, to be honest.
It is. It's a ton, right? So, well,
oh, that was a mistake. And now the Zerglings are able to get out.
Yeah, they do get out. But will they really be able to do a lot other than just mildly annoy Jim? And I don't think the answer is going to be yes. I mean, I think it's just going to be that, you know, just a mild annoyance. Although the big deal here is that one of the reasons you block like this is to keep your opponent from getting 2 bases. Well, guess what? Dream F91 already has a second base, so this isn't going to work this time for Jim. He's not really preventing his opponent from expanding, per se. It's just preventing him from getting that natural expansion. So,
yeah, I'm not going to lie. This really hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
The Zerglings are out. They're able to kind of move around and take map control, so not a lot of hidden pylons going to be placed down. F91 is going to be able to produce off of this base. As we can see, he's already starting to make that. Well, needs to set his rally points. I was a little worried about the cheese at the beginning of the game. And there's an open path here where the queen can kill everything from the ground, from the air.
Oh, 5-range queens. That's right. This isn't really much of a threat anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
this
is 400 resources right here. 550, 700, 850, 950 resources have been poured into this.
Yeah.
Plus, he had to cancel 2 additional things, 1,000, and had to cancel the gateway. He put 1,037 resources in here to have it killed by 1 5-range queen.
Yeah, that probe's like, wait a second. Oh, there was that patch. No. All right, well, this is really not an expected way that I thought we were going to see Game 3 go.
No.
Yeah, and just a lot of lings being produced right now. Very quick Zergling speed for F91, and if TyLoo.Jim doesn't wall off completely at home, he could have a bit of a problem here.
He is walled off completely, but still way behind in putting up this Nexus, way behind in tech as well, and just continuing to lose yet more and more stuff up at the front for really no gain.
Yeah, I mean, I like, too, that F91 has 3 creep tumors kind of ready to go as soon as these cannons aren't an option anymore. Look at this, just this is just not a problem at all for Zerg.
Nope, just not. So, especially because F91 will be able to move a queen up here on the high ground and pick off one of the photon cannons as well. So.
Oh, he's running some Zerglings out. That is, well, I suppose, I mean, he's got enough to do it, but yeah, why not? Yeah,
he's still going to be more than fine there. So, last couple of photon cannons are going to go down. So, will the pylons, and he'll be able to take his third base here. So, really, nothing has gone wrong for F91.
Yeah, honestly, Jim has got to be pretty terrified right now. He spent a ton of resources that didn't really end up doing a whole lot because the drone still was outside and was able to put down that natural expansion at the third base location. If I was Dream F91, though, right now, what I'd really be concerned about is watching for any sort of, you know, cheesy gateway timing to kind of follow this up with, because Protoss knows they're behind, right? So they have to kind of have some sort of follow-up. But with those 4 gas, I mean, who knows? Maybe maybe Jim is just kind of ready to be sort of chill this game.
And nice job by Dream to actually run back up, sacrifice 1 Zergling to make sure that there was only 1 photon cannon up at the front. That's pretty good call out of him because he knows exactly what sort of resources are being poured into defense. Jim does have 4 gas up now, though, starting to mine off of all of those. And we could see pretty high tech here in a bit, but he did reinvest back into his warp gate, of course, +1 weapons, and now a bunch of sentries.
Yep. So the question is, you know, what will these 2 players do to try to kind of follow up after this, you know, rather odd beginning to this game? And it looks like this is also the version of the map with 3 Xel'Naga towers as well. I don't believe ours has it. Don't ours just have 1?
No, ours is just 1, yes. Little ponds there as well.
Well, there you go. Xel'Naga ponds.
Yep, bit of overgrowth, but a nice addition to anyone's backyard.
Yep, that's right. Put some koi fish in there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some turtles.
Yeah, turtles are nice. Good. Yeah.
Sell some fresh spring water out of it. Some Xel'Naga pond spring water.
Xel'Naga spring water?
Xel'Naga spring water?
Yes, only the freshest. It may not be Fiji.
So pure, it's from the dawn of time.
Lets you see everything, so.
And he's trying to go after this pylon, but yeah, just obviously not having enough Zerglings to get the surface area that he needs. +1 will finish, and F91 should be aware that there are upgrades going for his Zerg opponent.
Layer tech coming up with the natural too, so going to make this a little bit hardier hatchery, I suppose. Some people will do this though to add on additional hit points into the hatchery that's a little bit more exposed. Now, back on Jim's side of things, he does have Blink coming up. He's got +2 on the way, and he's going to have a fair number of gateways, but this is going to be super delayed. As we can see, he's already down by 30 supply. His opponent is going to be able to run into very high tech quickly if he wants, or just be able to max on roaches very early on in this game.
Yeah, ooh, I like this. Hiding some gateways down on this low ground here, just trying to restrict any sort of information he can from his opponent. It's kind of cool.
And it is going to be a total of 6 gateways with a robo up now for Jim, and we'll see what he decides to follow this up with. If it's just going to be a big +2 blink attack, if he's going to essentially all in, or if he has an out in mind and is going to try and expand behind this.
Yeah, now, is it? Oh, it is.
Unit name Ursadeck Female 2.
All across the world. That's the name of that unit. Unit/name/Ursadeck Female 2.
And a Hydra Den coming up once again for F91.
Okay. I like this. I like the use of Hydralisks in situations where you realize that if you just have a really strong, beefy army at a certain point in a game, you're going to be able to just roll through your opponent. I'd say this is almost definitely one of those opportunities. The things he really needs to worry about, though, are engaging the Protoss in an area where the Stalkers can effectively blink away and continue fighting. So again, it's a very specific use when you go for Roach Hydra like this, but if he hits the timing just right, he could do a lot of damage to his opponent, maybe even win the game.
And it's going to be a nice counter to the +2 attack as well. So
yeah.
So we'll see if he's able to get enough out in number. And it looks like he does have 7 more on the way now. So no groove spines, though. So these are going to be 5, not 6 range Hydras.
For some reason, that is like the easiest upgrade to forget when you're playing. I don't know why that is, but I feel like you see more pros and just more everybody forget groove spines when they go Hydras than anything else.
This is a massive supply advantage now for Jim at the moment. Of course, he's waiting on, I'm sorry, for F91 at the moment as he's waiting a few more units to come out, though. Force fields are pretty good. They force the units to come around from the side, and he's able to dispatch up most of the Lings before having to deal with the Roaches. There are a lot of Roaches still out on the field, and the Hydras keep on flooding through as well.
You know, I know F91 likes to be really aggressive, but man, he needs to kind of wait for those Hydralisks to catch up the Roaches, getting a little bit too over-eager. It did really cause a lot of force fields and a lot of energy to be used by Jim, though, so this could end up working all right, but Every time I see that, I kind of just cringe. It's a little bit risky to do something like that.
And it looks like F91's going to go over to Aspire as well, so he will be able to add on those air units here momentarily.
That rally may end up being a problem for our Zerg player, as the rest of his army is a little bit out of position. He just barely pulls back. The Hydra's like, oh, we wish it was Heart of the Swarm. We wish we were faster.
We could have moved so much faster. It is weird to see those Hydras with the speed upgrade, though, I have to say.
I think it's awesome. I can't wait.
Oh, it's awesome, but still, when you're so used, I mean, how many thousands of hours have I watched StarCraft 2 games and seen Hydras move at 2.25 speed off of creep?
I can't wait to stutter step Hydralisks. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be annoying, actually. I think that's the word you were looking for. It was annoying, not awesome.
It can be interchanged. It's just two sides of the same coin, right?
I suppose so. But, all right. Well, has he gotten through spines yet? Yes, he has. Okay, so those are 6-range Hydralisks now, and he's going to be able to pick away at a few units from the low ground. Force fields once again zoning a pretty good amount of forces out, I have to say. But a lot of valuable sentries have been lost. Most of those were up at the front, and the ones at the back are not doing all that much, to be honest. He is going to be able to drive this back at least temporarily, but F91's pretty much expanding everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no reason for him to really get in there and break Jim just right now. I mean, he just really needs to make sure that his opponent doesn't take a third base. If he can deny that third, he can, easily starve his opponent out. And that's exactly what his opponent knows as well. He's going to try to clear out that area here. And this may be a good opportunity for F91 to come in here and try to take on this army on his own terms. It's going to be close.
That's a lot of Zerglings with that as well. And they are able to get right up next to the Stalkers, forcing them to use their Blink cooldown. That exposes a couple of Immortals up at the front. But so far, not a lot of pressure has been given to them. The Hydralisks, though, proving to be a little bit more effective in this composition against the Immortals. But still, the entire army is going to get driven off.
No kidding. That +2 attack really showing its strength there in that battle. So right now we have a Zerg player that's able to produce a lot more units, but his upgrades are behind enough that Jim is still able to keep up. He's got his third base building right now, so F91 may be starting to sweat a little bit. He's not really, again, like I said, intent on killing his opponent right now, but he does still need to be able to move into kind of a strong mid-game to be able to get to that strong late game, too. And little attacks like this, if he decides to do it again, are going to be less and less successful and kind of open him up more and more to the possibility of a counterattack.
He could make a ton of Mutalisks right now if he wanted to. Has a supply for it, has a larvae for it. And it looks like, there we go, 15 are coming up now. I was waiting for this to be allocated. So 15 of them on the way now, 19 Mutas coming out at the same time.
He doesn't mess around when it comes to Mutas. I respect that. That's pretty cool.
Gold base over here on the left-hand side. A bit interesting.
Whoa, I don't ever remember seeing a gold base on this map before, actually.
No, but I'm not used to this version of it, so with the 3 Zelnaga towers.
Interesting. Okay, this was a tournament that was run, by Mars TV, too, so they got to kind of have a say in what maps were used and things like that as well, I believe. But this is interesting.
All right. Well, that's a lot of Mutalisks. 19 of them, as a matter of fact. 3 more on the way. 22 Mutas popping out at roughly the same time. Can make for a pretty powerful force. And he should be able to pick off at these warp gates very easily, because if Jim decides to commit and ward away those Mutalisks, then he exposes himself in this area to a lot of Zerglings. So.
And I don't even know if that's enough Stalkers right there to take him out. I mean, the big thing is, again, that +2 attack that might make the Mutas think twice about engaging it. Yep, and he will think twice.
That's right. So not the magic card, though. Nope. That one annoys me a lot. So, but anyway, so let's see here now, as Jim is sitting comfortably on 3 bases with 58 workers, so he's got a respectable economy. Still down by 34 workers to his opponent, but of course we've seen the tendency from F91 to go ahead and make a billion spine crawlers all at once.
Yeah. And that's good, too. I mean, if you're going for this Mutalisk style, you do need a good amount of spine crawlers at home, because you're not going to be able to take the Protoss army on head-on with all those Mutalisks. So when Protoss does decide to finally attack, which is usually after you've done so much damage to them that they feel that they need to go all in, you want to be able to do everything you can to delay and just whittle down that army over time.
I gotta say, though, kudos to Jim. Was down really far in this game at the beginning of it after that ridiculous failed attempt to contain his opponent. But, F91 has kind of let off the gas, and Jim has been able to respond very appropriately.
Oh, that force field, the only thing stopping all those Zerglings from flooding in, and it's down. The force field and the gateway out of the way now, although the force field's lasting a long time. There it goes. But it doesn't matter. F91 is in the base. The army for Protoss coming back right now, but will it be enough to defend?
That's right, and as soon as the anti-air responded to this, the Mutalist ducked right over to the third and picked off a couple of workers there as well. 26 workers, in fact, have gone down, so just 34 probes now to 81 drones.
Now, to a certain extent, the Mutas were trapped a little bit for a moment, taking some damage, but the damage they were able to do in return more than makes up for it. The creep spread, I gotta say, for F91 isn't as good as we've seen from other Zerg players. He doesn't tend to really put that much of an effort into getting it just everywhere, I guess.
And those are a lot of spine crawlers on the left-hand side. Yeah, we are used to that from him by now. A bunch of Banelings are morphing in as well. 27 at the same time, in addition to the 15 that are already out there, so a total of 42 here in a bit. Mutalist did a little bit of damage once again, but their numbers are whittled down once again, just sitting on 15 of them.
You know, I suppose when you have a gold base, too, you can really get a lot of those. It's a big amount of Zerglings and Banelings, and there's not a ton of sentries. Just waiting now for those force fields to be over with.
And no AoE, unfortunately, to deal with Banelings en masse. And that's what Colossi are very useful for in this scenario. And the Banelings are just going to be able to roll through. They picked off a lot of units. And once the anti-air goes down, the Mutas are going to be able to swing in and clean up basically all of the rest. Few fresh Stalkers now finally blinking in, but the Mutalisks are still in quite a good number. Oh, and the Banelings connecting in style. Unfortunately, these Immortals are going to have to run away, but they may get picked off if they don't run away fast enough.
Oh, there's also a big Zergling run by at the third as well. GG and Dream. F91 is going to the finals for the Chinese qualifiers for IPL